a fight every single time. Go live. Oh, there we go.
Fairly painless today.
I think the key is just keep pressing the same button over and over and over and over again until finally Instagram submits.
Well, I hope it's not a visual thing because I can't see you, but...
Oh, I can see you this time. Yesterday, Fletcher could see me, but I couldn't see Fletcher. So just let us know in chat if you can see us. Just give us a quick nod in chat. I'm pretty sure you can. It's usually only one or the other person who can't see us. Let's see if anyone's awake in chat. Oh, Gareth's here. Gareth, can you see us both? Hello, Gareth. Anybody in chat?
Anyone?
Anyone? Just let us know. We're alive. You can hear us. You can see us. Yeah, let's go. Does that mean you can see us? Anyone? Bueller? Anyone? Let us know. Can you see us? Are we visible to the common people?
Gareth says he can.
Oh, Gareth says he can. Where's he said that? I missed that.
He said, I can see Ash, not sure about the person who... Oh, no. He can see me.
Yeah, but is he being sarcastic?
Probably.
Oh, I only see Ash. Tom Green says he sees me. Right. I see both loud and clear. So, okay, there we go. So it's a mix. It's great. It's a mix. So anyway, let's crack on. It's all going swimmingly as usual. Good old Insta. So we're going to be reviewing this. You played with this. Was it today?
I've played with it today. I've been playing with it quite a lot. So it's been great fun, to be fair.
Oh, there you go. Gareth just sees both. He's being cheeky about my haircut. Thanks, Gareth. So what were your thoughts? What did you play? Talk us through it. What detachment did you play? What did you bring? What was your thoughts?
So today, I did, because I had to keep it quite simple because I had everything at hand, but quite simple. Veterans of the Long War detachment. Anyone who's read the Codex before, there's all their detachments all have their perks and all have their good and not so good parts, but all in all, very solid Codex. The Veterans of the Long War detachment itself, that's just your sort of Black Legion-y type one. So it's sort of like a copy and paste of the Oath of Moment rule for the detachment rule. So you pick a unit at the beginning of your command phase, and you get to re-roll hits against it.
Oh, yeah.
And there's some nice...
Focus of hatred.
Focus of hatred, that's it. And there's some nice synergies with some stratagems with it. So, no, but today it was quite simple. Terminators, Abaddon, and Legionaries.
Yeah, no, Daz. Stevie Wonder didn't cut my hair. But thanks for the input. Thanks. It's doing great for my confidence. I'll go back to growing it really long and never quit ever again. So you were playing against Orcs. How did that go?
The Orc Codex is very good at the moment, I'll say that. Depending on what detachment you're taking with them, but it was a dread mob detachment, so lots of killer cans, lots of death dreads. They were very good. And the same as always, they got their WAR special rules, so they can advance and charge in the turn they do that. But yeah, no, it was not so close at the beginning of the game because I was just completely outnumbered. But once Abaddon hit the field, he did a lot of the heavy lifting and point scoring.
I've heard Abaddon's taken a nerf. Have Abaddon taken a nerf? Is this the truth?
Is it the truth? Yes and no. Nerf is a very strong word for it. It's one of his rules have been downgraded slightly. Nothing serious. So in the index, when you did the Dark Pacts, those who don't know what Dark Pacts is, it's the Chaos generic rule where you take a leadership test if you select a unit to shoot or fight. If you pass the leadership test, then you can choose either lethal hits or sustained hits 1. If you fail the leadership, you still get either one of those, but you take D3 mortal wounds as well.
Right.
But the way Abaddon's old rules were is when you did a Dark Pact, and once you passed it, which you usually will on a 5-up, you roll a D6. On a 2-up, you get a command point. So it's been slightly changed now. And interestingly enough, if you look at it on the app, it's got its old rules on, even with the new Codex, which is weird. But in the Codex, which is the correct one, once you've completed the Dark Pacts, if you passed it on a 7+ or more, the leadership test, then you get a command point. So it's made it a little less likely to get that extra command point. But today, you do the Dark Pacts and shooting with Abaddon's unit, get a 7+, you get a command point. There's a potential to get 2 command points in the same turn with it.
Okay.
Which is
so what was in your? I saw you got Abaddon and Terminators in your list. What else was in your list?
So I had a sorcerer in Terminator armor with 5 Terminators. I'm sorry if you hear any crying in the background. It's my little one. 2 units of Havocs, a unit of Warp Talons, of unit of 10, and a unit of Legionaries.
Okay. What many points for the game then?
2,000.
Oh, okay, that's not a lot.
10 Terminators and Abaddon is very expensive. Oh, and a unit of Chosen, sorry. With a Master of Execution and a Dark Apostle.
Okay, so just going through chat, make Kalasku 50. If you have me alive, 100 viewers will watch during this live. I don't think they will. Art by Tom Green, hairs, make you look very professional. Thank you. Daz says you're joining the Chaos ranks. Well, I've seen that Daz is possibly doing a Chaos Space Marine Army. McCall says, reply me, please. You sound like a bot, so no. Now, let's move on. So, I mean, what have you read all through the Codex? I must admit, I've only just skimmed it because I just really have not had time.
I've read a good majority of it. I've tried a few of the detachments now, and there seems to be better ones than others. The only thing I haven't really read through is the Crusade rules, which is my job tonight actually, because I might be joining a Crusade soon. So
okay, cool. So give me your top 3, and then give me what you think the worst one is, and we'll have a look through.
So the top 3, the third one I would say is Veterans of the Long War. Okay. All around sort of useful with everything. Relies heavy, not to rely heavy on it. Abaddon is able to be added into any of the detachments, so you're not bound by him being only in Veterans of the Long War or Black Legion. It doesn't matter. But a lot of their 6 stratagems, it's very rounded. So you've got a stratagem that lets you choose a different focus of hatred, but you have to have a character within 12 inches of that selected unit. And the last focus to hatred has to be destroyed first. There's one that lets you fight first. There's one that is quite a cool one where it allows you to move 6 inches or up to 6 inches of your movement characteristics. If a enemy unit becomes within 9 inches of one of yours, which is quite cool. All in all, really cool, just all-rounded. It's not great at one thing, but all right in most. So Veterans of the Long War is a good one. The second one is probably the Iron Warriors one, Fellhammer Siege Host.
The Fellhammer Siege Host. That's the one where if you strength is more than toughness, it's -1 to wound.
-1 to wound. So yeah, if you're being wounded on a 2s, it goes to a 3. If you're being wounded on a 3, it goes to a 4. Solid, very solid. Relies heavily on ranged. Even one of their stratagems allows you to change your weapon profiles of any weapons in that unit to pistol. So you can essentially shoot into combat with Reaper chain cannons, auto cannons, las cannons, whatever, which is pretty cool. But yeah, no, it's very anti-vehicle. So it as you would expect with a sort of Iron Warriors base one, very siege heavy. So you want your Havocs, your Terminators, your Legionaries, and your or Vindicators and Predators would be a good shout as well.
Yeah, I mean the picture for it's got Predators and a Land Raider.
Yeah, and Land Raiders. Land Raiders are always a good choice. A lot of points, but a good choice. And the best one, and I want to use it properly fully because I haven't been able to because I don't actually own any Chaos bikes, which will change soon. Is Renegade Raiders is a very good detachment, very solid.
That's the Red Corsairs one, isn't it?
That's it. So all weapons in the detachment have assault. So even if you're heavy, pistol, it doesn't matter. Everything has assault, so you can advance and shoot, no issues. And also, you increase the AP of each weapon by 1 if you're firing at something or targeting a enemy unit that's in range of a objective marker.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
It is really cool. It's really cool.
So the only problem with that for me is the Chaos bikes are like 20 odd years old.
They are. But you can jazz them up with some of the more up-to-date looking stuff from the Legionary set. If you got spare Legionary kits, then you should have enough helmets and arms and things like that to be able to at least make them a little bit more modern-ish.
Yeah, I guess so. So which one do you see? So which one do you see as the worst?
The worst? It's quite difficult because all of them are good in some aspect, but I suppose I haven't used it yet, and I probably don't plan to, only because I don't have enough to make it worthwhile. It's probably the Chaos Cult one.
The Acolytes.
Yeah, so it heavily relies you on taking damned units. So damned units are your cultists, your Felgors, renegades, accursed cultists, and Dark Commune. It's just it looks fun in terms of fluff and sort of like the rules and things, but I wouldn't say it's groundbreakingly amazing. You won't see it at many tournaments, I don't think.
Chaos Cult one, isn't it? That's the one. Each time the damned unit from the army got let's make an all mover advance or declare a charge. It can make a desperate pact, see below, which is it must take a leadership test. If it's failed, suffers D3 more wounds before any effects of the pact resolve. Okay. What does that?
It looks fun, but yeah. There's a chance to take loads of mortal wounds if you fail the desperate pact and dark pact as well as normal dark pact. So
2 inches to your move characteristics, add 2 to your charge rolls.
That's okay, but it's still cultists.
Yeah. I guess
if you got a lot of accursed cultists, it's probably good for them. But yeah, no. And the issue I have with the cultist thing at the moment is that they've taken out the weapon options for cultists. So cultists can only have close combat weapon and a pistol now. The only option is to give the leader a bolt pistol.
Well, isn't there? There's not like a. I'm thinking the wrong kit. Is there not still the flamer guy in the cultist box?
Yes. So he's now a separate character.
Okay.
He is. I haven't looked at his stats yet. I know he is mainly to help him with leadership tests and things like that. But cultist firebrand. So basically, the Blackstone Fortress cultist with the big stick with the fire that's coming out of it. It's okay. I think it's about 60 points for the model. So yeah.
Beastmen are
But
back. Beastmen are back. Felgor
yeah,
Beastmen. I guess they're the ones that are blasting the
Feral
books.
Beastmen, they get scout and all sorts, so they're quite quick. But once again, toughness 4 Beastmen with a 5-up save. If they were objective OC2, they might be a bit better, but they're only 1. 6-inch movement, I would have preferred it if they were 7 or 8, being Beastmen.
Yeah.
They used to have Scout, and it doesn't look like they've got Scout anymore.
They've got Bestial Raiders.
Yeah.
They can set up as reinforcements. Are you second or third in the face? So they've basically got deep strike, haven't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, strategic.
I suppose if you wanted a lot of weapons in a cultist list, then you'd take the Renegade or the Traitor Guardsman squads. So they can have 3 special weapons, so a grenade launcher, a flamer, melter gun, plasma gun, or a cultist sniper rifle. So that's not horrendous, but yeah. And they become battle line in the cultist one, so that's quite good, especially with the new mission packs that are coming out, where battle line will become quite a key thing now.
Yeah. Dante paints. I am Alfarius, Lord Varus from Nurgle. He is Alfarius. Speaking of Alfarius, have you seen there is an Alpha Legion detachment, isn't there?
Yeah.
Base.
Yeah, I will give it a go at some point. The Deceptors. So, depending on the size of your game, 2 units if it's Incursion, 3 units if it's Strike Force, and up to 4 units if it's Legionaries. So you can cultist mobs and characters attached to it, and Legionaries and characters attached to it, apart from Epic Heroes, can infiltrate, which is pretty cool.
It's not bad. Not bad.
Yeah, and there's some quite funny stratagems to go with it. So, like Detonator, I like that one. So basically, forces a vehicle to explode automatically within 18 inches of a model character.
So, Gareth, as you are in chat, what did you? I don't think didn't you offer to buy Gareth the Codex?
I did.
Is this? And did he turn you down?
He
So
did.
he's Alpha Legion, but doesn't want a Codex. Does that make him a loyalist?
A little bit. I know he likes Night Lords as well.
This is true. Yeah, it's quite insidious. Yeah, yes, Gareth. I would have hoped it'd be an enemy vehicle they're blowing up, but who's the enemy? Who's the enemy in Alpha Legion? Really? Who's the bad guy there?
Who knows?
Who knows? So, Codex, as an overview of the Codex as a whole, do you think it is better than the 9th edition Codex, on a par with, worse than? What do we think about that one?
Better than 9th edition Codex, you
is
say?
Stacking up against the 9th edition Codex, is it better, worse, the same?
The 9th edition. See, I try to keep this separate from 9th edition because 9th edition was a mess of a game. It wasn't great, especially near the end. And I say, if you needed a balanced data slate so regularly because your game is so broken, you've probably done something wrong.
Yeah, true.
So, in terms of the 10th edition Codex, I feel that the Codex itself for Chaos, it's a well-rounded, fluffy and fun and fairly competitive Codex all in one. I think there's loads of different styles of play, and that's what I've been most impressed with probably most of the codexes that have come out recently, is how they're changing it up so you're not forced to play one set of ways. So if you had Black Legion, for example, you had to play with the Black Legion rules. It's it's gone, right, here are the detachments. They're based around certain legions, but you can take whatever you want. So different detachments, yes, you can bring what you want, but it's based around certain aspects of playstyle that make you think about your lists. And that's what I'm impressed with this codex and other codexes with, actually, as well.
Okay. Any standout units? What do you think? Or what the units you? Well, let's start again. The list you've taken. Any standout units? Any units that you think are particularly good? Any units you could we could probably leave out of a list?
No, I think I've got a few in mind. There's one I've not tried out yet. Is the Lord of Skulls. That's got a lot better. I'm not sure about its points though, but yeah, no, it looks quite solid. I'll give more of an overview at a different point until I try it. But from looking at it, it looks solid. When your strike weapon is doing a flat 8 damage with 5 attacks, and you're causing battle shock everywhere, it's got to be quite good. One unit that did really stand out, especially today, was Warp Talons. So I'll probably run them in 2 groups of 5 next time, but Unit 10. So basically, they've lost the rule that if someone falls back, enemy unit falls back from them, you have to do a roll off or something like that. It's now, if in the fight phase, at the end of the fight phase, if they were eligible to fight, and so if they weren't doing actions or whatever, I think you can fight even if you're doing actions. It doesn't matter. If they're eligible to fight and they're not in engagement range, they can go back into reserves, which is quite useful.
So yeah, warp strike. At the end of the fight phase, unit was eligible to fight this phase. There's now not with engagement range. One wearing units, you can remove this unit from the battlefield and place it in reserves. So what you're saying is warp talents might be worth taking again because they've been garbage for a long time.
And with the 4 attacks, strength 5, -2 with twin linked, so rerolling wounds, and dart packs if you're looking for those lethal hits on something that's a high toughness or sustained if it's trying to wipe out a horde or squishier. And once it's done, it just goes back. The thing that these work really well with, and I found out today, they work really well with rapid ingress. So you want to really go second, and in your opponent's second turn, bring them down with rapid ingress at the end of the movement phase, somewhere safe.
Mm-hmm.
But close enough to something, because they got a 12-inch movement. So somewhere safe where they might not get shot up. But then your next turn, your turn 2, they're moving with no issues, and they'll go in for a charge. And once they've killed what they need to, then you just put them back in reserve, wait for your opponent's next turn again, and then rapid ingress them again.
Okay, so I'm taking note of this in case you bring loads of warp talons and raptors and stuff. Well, next month, I know what he's going to do now. He's going to keep popping off and popping back in again. Dante says the strength of Crusaders, you can take any enhancement if you pay for it, and you don't have to use that detachment to use the enhancement. And then Daz Orc Daggers, I've played against Warp Talons and they chewed through my infiltrating unit and disappeared, leave me nothing to charge turn 1. Right, all this is duly noted. Keep away for just wait for Ash to turn up next month with 30 Warp Talons, and then I know I'm in trouble. Right, cool. Okay, cool.
Another good unit, and they have been good from the index, and they've been great in this codex, is Chosen. Chosen are near God tier at the moment. They're very, very good. So the best part of them is that in the index, Abaddon wasn't able to join them.
Right, yeah, because yeah.
But now we can. So the Chosen's ability allows them to advance, shoot, and charge. So that means if Abaddon joins their unit, he can also do that as well.
Okay. And they'll be faster than him anyway, because he's movement 5.
He's movement 5, so you want to keep him at the front and then just every so often overtake him slightly.
Got you. Yeah, that's the only thing, isn't it? When you mix and match. I'm trying to find the chosen date sheet. Trying to find it in this massive data sheet.
Basically, better legionaries with 1 extra wound, and a load of different weapon choices. So their standard is accursed weapons, bolt pistol, and bolt guns. And you can give multiple power fists. So you can take 2 power fists in a unit of 10, 4 plasma pistols in a unit of 10. So there's plenty of versatility.
And they can shoot and declare a charge in a turn in which the advance will fall back, which is good.
Yeah, mix them with a Master of Execution as well, who could also join the unit. And his ability allows re-rolls against something that hasn't started, that isn't at full strength. And if they're under half strength, then it's re-roll the wounds as well. Okay. I believe.
So I'm just going to have a quick look at Abaddon's state sheet. Forgive me while I go through. So it should send a leader. Yeah, Chaos Terminator Squad all chosen. What do you think though? Would you still put Abaddon with Terminators, or would he be better with chosen?
Depends what you want to do with them. I put him with Terminators today, but it was a block of 10 Terminators, so because there was a lot of orc shooting, so there was a lot of wounds to chew through. With an auto 4-up invul at toughness 5. They would have chewed through chosen a little easier, only because they were toughness 4. There is a War Master, so he's got War Master ability, so you choose one of the rules, War Master rules in the command phase, so Paragon of Hatred, Mark of Chaos Ascendant, or Lord of Traitor Legions. So I tend to only use the Lord of the Traitor Legions one if he is joining a unit of Terminators, because they can re-roll Battle Shock and Leadership tests, which helps them with Dart Packs.
Yeah.
And when Terminators do Dart Packs, they get full re-rolls anyway to hit. Whereas if you were using him with chosen, you'd probably opt for the Mark of Chaos Ascendant while he's getting into combat, because it gives the units within 6 inches of 4-up invul. Or you'd use the Paragon of Hatred, which gives them rerolls to hit, or the unit rerolls to hit. So at the moment, I prefer putting him with Terminators because he's just a little harder to kill. But a nice little combo would be putting chosen with Abaddon in the unit in a Land Raider, and because Abaddon would count as 2 models and capacity is 12, so more than enough space, and then just move up the Land Raider where you want it to be, and then your next turn get the chosen out, then advance, and then you should be able to charge as you go.
Hello, budget orc. We'll check out your post when we've got off the stream. We'll definitely give you some feedback on that. So, Abaddon then still a must take. Do you think? I think
he's not always an auto include, but it's hard not to add him into a list if you're doing 2,000 points or higher.
Thank you, Time War Game. Yes, they are my Armada ships in the background. Any other units that stand out that we've done chosen? We've done War Talons. Anything else you really like?
Yeah, Vashtor. Vashtor has come to play now.
Okay.
Yeah, so he's gained an extra wound. I believe he was 13 wounds in the index. He's gone up a toughness because he was definitely toughness 9. I could be wrong about the wounds, to be fair, but his hammer has gained an extra bit of damage on the strike and an extra bit of AP.
Okay, it's toughness 10 as well.
Yeah. So he's probably being on small arm fire, wounding on 6s more often than 5s. But no, he's got a cool, funky little rule that made me laugh when I first read it. Basically, if anybody shoots at him and is within 18 inches of him while shooting at him, those ranged weapons gain the hazardous keyword or hazardous rule. So you could have a bunch of bolters firing at him within 18 inches, and all those models have to take a hazardous test afterwards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he's got his own, well, sort of like a base detachment as well. So he buffs up demon engines, basically. So he gives them basically an extra strength on their weapons, be it ranged or combat, because a defiler needs to be strength 17 on its melee weapons.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the temptation would be to lead him back with your demon engines rather than pushing forward. But he doesn't look too bad in combat with his hammer,
No,
either.
no, and he's a vehicle killer. His strike has anti-vehicle 4+ with devastating wounds. So it's dev wounds on 4+, causing 3 damage.
Yeah, that's not bad. It's not bad at
But
all, is it? Really?
he's wounding most vehicles on 3s anyway, with strength 14 on the strike. And as standard, he does have a sweep attack, which is anti-vehicle as well. So I don't know when you would use that against vehicles. 14 attacks on a 2-up, strength 8, no AP, which is standard these days. If you've got a strike and a sweep, you'll tend to be 2 pips of AP worse on the sweep. Is if you have a look at the Demon Prince, it's exactly the same. Their strike is AP 2, and their sweep is AP 0.
Okay. So would you? I guess his best detachment would be the demon engine detachment as well, wouldn't it? Stick him in that.
Yeah. So he has his sort of. I haven't tried it out yet, so I can't comment on how well it does. Soulforged War Pack. So basically, as well as Dart Packs, when you enact a Dart Pack, you can also do what's called invoking a contract, but only works on demon engines. You -1 to the leadership test while doing it, but if you do it, then the model gets +1 to wound on ranged attacks, and you can add 2 to the characteristics of melee weapons that model has. So you might not do it all the time, but if you get a Mauler Fiend into combat, you'll probably do it. If you're trying to chew away at a lot of something high toughness, then you'd want add one to wound. But yeah, no, there's some cool stratagems to go with it as well. There's one especially that I like, and this is demonic possession. So you pick a Heretic Astartes vehicle, which isn't a demon engine or anything with demon in it. Until the end of the battle, that vehicle has the demon keyword. So then you could make Hellbrutes demon engines for the rest of the game.
So Lord Virus and Eagle asks, how good is the new Chaos Marine book?
I think it's very good. I enjoy it very much. Like I said, it's in terms of how fun it is, it's better than the Index because you've got a lot of choices and a lot of different ways to play. So don't get disheartened if one detachment doesn't quite work for you, because there are loads of different ones that you can try. I've heard a lot of people say that they missed the marks of chaos because that's only now bound to the pack bound zealots, which is the word bearers version, detachment. Where in the Index, if you gave something a mark and you did a dart pack, depending on which god you had, you got sustained hits or lethal hits on 5+ to shoot or combat, depending on what mark of chaos you were. Or if you were undivided, then you get to, I think it was reroll hits, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, you get those marks now in only pack bound zealots, but that's, you can still play the Index way with that detachment. It still works. You don't have to just bring Possessed or anything. You can bring a normal Chaos list, and everything will get. You can give things marks of Chaos. So there's that.
I want to know why he's dreading the World Eater boot. Why? I'm really looking forward to the World Eater boot because the index is all right.
I would say some of the if you've got a strong index, then I would say get ready for your Codex not to be as strong as your index was. Because the way I see that they're trying to do things, I could be wrong, I could be full of crap. Is it like Custodes? They had some really cool rules, but now it's sort of taken a step back a little bit because Games Workshop may have seen that their rules were a bit too good in the index, so they brought it back a bit. There are some rules because Chaos were doing very well with their index and high percentage of wins of the way they were doing things. Now they brought it back a little bit and moved some rules about. So some rules you had in the index aren't as good anymore, but it does something different in the Codex. Whereas Orcs, their index wasn't great, but their Codex has pushed them up a little bit. Nothing serious. And same with, I reckon, with Eldar, I hope, with Eldar, is that their index is extremely strong at the moment, and you'll probably find that their Codex might balance them out a little bit. I don't know, but
I think I think that there's a point in that where the Custodes Codex is just not very good, and their index is very good. So by that logic, then the Eldar Codex should be terrible. But at the same time, I think Admech might be the exception that proves the rule, to be honest, because they had not a very good index and an even worse codex. So.
Yeah, I thought that was a bit harsh. Whereas Space Marines, the only thing that took a hit was the Oath of Moment roll. So it's no longer rerolls to hit and wound, it's just rerolls to hit. So, yeah. Yeah, Admech, unfortunately, aren't in a great place. But if you watch the Meta Watch video, they will be doing apparently stuff to Admech to sort of bring them back up. So I don't know if they're going to change some rules or if they're going to change their points values. But I'd imagine they're going to try and make them a little bit more competitive, which would be nice.
Yeah, so Lord Varus is worried they'll nerf World Eaters. I don't know, because World Eaters are sort of middle of the road. They aren't really, they're where GW wants them to be. Win rate rise are around about the 50% mark.
Yeah.
So that's where GW wants them to be. But then again, these codexes were written way before. They've already been done months in advance. So it's just when they release them. But so, I mean, I think we've seen that in a lot of the points values, because the points values are out of date before the codex even hits. Again, Admech, if they're going to bring out new rules and update rules for them and change points values, and that tells me that the codex was written a while ago, and then you start wondering, well, why have I got a codex if it's going to be instantly out of date or it's going to be revised so much I don't need it anymore? Yeah, it's a tricky one, but I don't know, because I think World Eaters are pretty much middle of the road. They're pretty good when they work, but they're also they've got their weaknesses as well. Obviously, lack of range combat. Berserkers tend to bounce off stuff. I think World Eaters are probably not going to take too much of a hit. I wouldn't have thought, because they're not like setting the world on fire.
No, and they're no pushovers either. So it's a strange one. It's I think they will be fine in their codex. I think they'll be fine. Death Guard might be a little bit better than they are now. Maybe. Thousand Suns, I'm not sure. Well, I don't see a lot of Thousand Suns being played, so I don't know how well they're doing.
They used to be when the index came out. When the indexes came out, Thousand Suns were really good. Because basically Magnus, I know, like Thousand Suns versus Custodes, all the little abilities that Custodes had, Magnus could turn them off.
Yeah.
So, Lord Arsenal says, I mean, I have the following for Khorne, Angron, Kharn, Demon Prince, Lord Invocatus, Master Executioners, 10 Berserkers, 9 Exalted 8-bound, 3 8-bounds, or Land Raider. Yeah, that's not. I mean, to be fair, Angron I think has a lot of points, and he's a bit swingy. Kharn's really good. Master Execution I think is a must take for World Eaters.
Oh
Demon
god, fight first
Fight
every turn.
first, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, turn. Demon Prince again. Angron and Demon Prince is a swingy. I think Angron when he works is devastating. Angron when he doesn't work it's it's a big lot of points. 415 points, 215 points there that you just sort of if you lose him, it's a quarter of your army gone on a 2,000 point list basically. So yeah, I've seen Angron when I've played against Angron when he's just devastated half my army by himself. But I've also played with Angron where he's been taken out quite early. He's very swingy, I think. But if he works, he works. He's a bit of a gamble.
It's an interesting one. All Demon Primarchs, maybe only Magnus is the exception of the rule. They're very scary in terms of you plonk on the table, it's a big thing. But depending on how the dice are with you that day, they're no different to anything else, really.
If you get the right blessings of Khorne, you can turn one charge Angron. If you can turn one charge Angron, then you just devastate stuff. But if you can't turn one charge Angron, then you're in trouble. And I got hit with some Paragon Warsuits with him against Sisters, and Paragon Warsuits are better at tank shock than tanks, and they took him down to 1 wound with tank shock. It was like, what?
Yeah.
So yeah, he's swingy. I think Angron's swingy, but if you can get a turn one charge off with Angron, then your opponent's in trouble.
I would say if you get a turn one charge with Angron, your opponent hasn't deployed properly yet.
Yeah, if you get Blessings of Khorne, you can basically move him an extra, so you can move him. He's got a 12-inch move, is it? I think it is.
Probably.
You can add another 6 inches to his move, so he can 18-inch move, and then get within charge range. So, yeah, I've done it once against Space Marines where I've managed to turn one charge him, and it just devastates stuff. But you've got to get the Blessings of Khorne to do it, just because he gives you that extra bump to get them forward. What would I suggest for your list? Your list is pretty good, to be honest. I think Angron's just fun to take. It's fun to take. He's a fluffy take. You probably want more than one Master Executions.
I was going to say, if you've got, is it only 10 Berserkers? Yeah, so can you put a Master with 8-bound?
No, but you can put them with. You could split your Berserkers into 2 units of 5 and put with each other. You might. Khorne's good, but he's squishy. Khorne's great on the charge. He's got fight on death, but he's squishy. That's the only thing about Berserkers. They're very squishy. If they bounce, they die.
They've got to. Yeah, it's like I call it the Marine curse. Marines in combat with other Marines, like Berserkers or even just normal legionaries with chainswords, they don't do too great in combat versus other armor. But yeah, like you said, if they bounce off, then ouch.
I quite rate normal 8-bound because they can basically scout, so they get they can move. They can move before after everyone's deployed. They can move. 8-bound are really good because they're so quick. So you might want to split your exalted and normal 8-bound into a 6 and a 6 instead of a 9 and a 3. I do find that sticking 8-bound in a Land Raider works as well because they've got like a nice toughness 14, is it toughness 13 box to hide in, and then they can just deploy out of that, and because it's assault ramp, they can charge when they deploy, and that's quite devastating. 8-bound are really good. I know with Chris Undivided took an entire list of 8-bound. He just had 8-bound, nothing else. Which Steve Box advised him to do. So, and apparently it's all right. So yeah, you might want to switch to all 8-bound. I'm considering it. I've got 12 8-bound. 6 exalted and 6 normal. So I mean, every time I'm considering doing all 8-bound lists one day to see what it's like. If for nothing else, it's fun. You can't shoot anything, but if you charge into stuff, you just demolish it, and they can do the same with vehicles and everything. They just munch through stuff, and they're so quick. And you can put Lord Invocatus with 8-bounds as well.
Yes. If you're shooting with Khorne, then you're not doing Khorne right.
I think you do need a bit of firepower. Oh, toughness 12 Land Raiders. I thought it was more than that. You do need a bit of long range shooty with Khorne, just because you
That's what
can't
you're
guarantee
doing
getting
Prince with the infernal cannons for.
Yeah, but it's crap. It's just a
Yeah,
heavy bolter.
yeah.
It's just a heavy bolter, which is why a Land Raider's pretty good, because you've got your las cannons and you can stick a havoc launcher and a combi bolter on it, and
I tell you what, rhinos and land raiders. People like them because of the las cannons and everything, and they're tough. But rhinos really, really, really are useful. They really are.
yeah, I definitely take a couple of rhinos in your list as well, so you can whack. If you've got berserkers, to whack your berserkers in. The more protection you've got for your squishy space marines is the better, especially if you're playing a pretty shooty army, because you're going to need something that's going to soak up that before they can just detach stuff.
And they've got
Yeah,
the
so that's
smoke keyword, so you can pop smoke with them.
exactly.
For a seat.
You can pop smoke with them. Yeah, I've got a couple of rhinos for my world eaters. Horus Land Raider. Yeah, because apparently I think Gareth says HH Land Raider and other loads of spikes to it. I think is that the case at the minute, or things like rhinos and Land Raiders are pretty much sold out, aren't they, for chaos? So I have heard.
There's a random one in the Banbury local shop that hasn't been touched in years. Just a rhino, chaos rhino.
Or just use normal rhinos and just paint them a different colour.
Oh, that's where all my rhinos have come from. They used to be my Ultramarines rhinos before I converted to Chaos, and I just resprayed them.
Yeah, I mean, I think again the only thing about Land Raiders is points. There are a couple of hundred points. They're a big sink if they go down, but certain armies,
285 points, I
yeah,
think, maybe around
yeah,
that.
200 and something, yeah, definitely. But they're a big chunkier army. But the T12, they're very hard to kill.
Yeah,
Um,
if you've
when
got a
I played against,
Smith near them as well, I don't know if World Eaters can take Watersmiths, but um, healing them D3 wounds at the beginning, in your movement phase or in your command phase, and making them hit one better. So hitting on twos.
yeah, uh, yeah. I think yeah. Right. That's the only problem with that. I mean, start again. I was playing against sisters, and they hadn't got anything that could actually hurt the Land Raider. Sorry, so that the Land Raider pretty much moved up with impunity because they couldn't. They didn't really have anything heavy enough to do it much damage as being T12. I mean, sisters have got a lot of melter stuff, and melter's
Yeah,
quite
but
low strength.
melters are still only strength 8. They're wounding on
Exactly.
5s against Land Raiders.
Exactly. So they didn't have a great deal of stuff that could deal with the Land Raider, so it let me move the Land Raider up and then discharge my 8 bound, which then caused absolute carnage when they got out of the Land Raider. So yeah, any transports are good for World Eaters. The only problem is you're lessening the amount of infantry by upping your amount of transports. That's the only drawback. But I think they're a must, because you don't want to be foot slogging berserkers up the middle of the table, because they'll just die. They'll get shot. They'll get shot to pieces. Yeah. Look at these two awesome blokes. Thank you, Norse Paints. Hope you are
Hi,
well.
Norse.
How are you? No goat noises, unfortunately, on Insta. I'm sorry. Sorry. And all you do, and obviously we can't talk full frontal because it's Insta. Um, any other units that stand out for you in the Codex?
Yeah, yeah. Havoc's are always a good shout as well, only because their toughness 5 makes them a little bit chunkier and moving and be able to shoot without any penalties, as well as ignoring all ballistic modifiers to hit as well, which is pretty cool. So anything that's got stealth, they ignore, basically. Hellbrutes. Hellbrutes shouldn't be as good as they are. And when you think of Hellbrutes, you think that, they're basically crazier dreadnoughts, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. For some reason, the dreadnoughts in this codex are support units, which is weird. I find it weird, but I love the rule. So they have a rule called Dark Ascension, which is an aura of 6 inches. So if a Heretic Astartes unit within 6 inches does a Dark Pact, instead of choosing sustained or lethal in the Dark Pact, you get both.
Okay.
Which is mental. Why? Why are they a support unit? I'm not complaining. I'm just asking, why? But yeah, no. So
is it because the models are really, really, really old and a bit shit, and they want to sell them?
Yeah, probably. I personally own 6 Hellbrutes. Well, I've collected over the years. I just obtain them. But yeah, no, it's a really cool rule. And they work even better in Pact-Bound Zealots, as I mentioned earlier, the detachment that allows you to take Marks of Chaos. Yeah, exactly that. A line of Legionaries and Havocs advancing alongside a couple of Dreadnought, a couple of Hellbrutes. And they're just getting sustained and lethal hits in all their shooting and combat within 6 inches. It's mental. But Pact-Bound Zealots, so it works a bit differently. So if you're Mark a Khorne, then each time you make a Dark Pact and you choose lethal hits, and each time a model in the unit makes a melee attack, so an unmodified hit roll of 5+ scores a critical hit instead of 6s. And Tzeentch is the exact same, but in shooting. So on a 5+ scores a critical hit. And if you choose lethal hits, sorry. So if you choose lethal hits with something that's Mark of Khorne, on a 5+, it's crits are on 5s. For Tzeentch, crits for shooting on 5s. And Nurgle, it's sustained hits. If you choose that, then you get crits for shooting on 5s. And Slaanesh, you get sustained hits. And if you choose sustained hits, you get critical crits on 5. So with the Hellbrute nearby, not only would, if you, let's say you've got a unit of Havocs, they've got Mark of Nurgle. So you do your Dark Pact, you're within 6 inches of the Hellbrute, you choose sustained hits, and you get the sustained hits and you get crit to hit on 5+s. But you're actually getting sustained hits and lethal hits on 5+s because you're within 6 inches of Hellbrute because you've got both of them.
Okay.
It's mental. It's mental. It shouldn't work, but it does. It's weird.
Will that get a nerf, do we think?
No, because it was the exact same in the Index.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah, that's why Chaos did so well, is because the marks were universal rule. So people were bringing Hellbrutes, putting them near something that shoots really well, doing your Dark Pact. Because at that point, you didn't do the Dark Pact at the beginning, before you shoot or do combat and take the mortal wounds. You did it at the end of the turn.
At arm's length pain says it's clearly intended because they changed Abaddon.
Yeah, so that's another little nerf that he's taken, which isn't a big deal unless you're a big Abaddon fan who wants to take Pact-Bound Zealots. He's lost all the keywords for the specific gods.
Oh yeah,
So he doesn't have he doesn't have Nurgle, Slaanesh, Khorne, or Tzeentch keywords. So theoretically, because if you add a character into a unit, that unit gains the keywords that the character has. So in the Index, if you added Abaddon into a unit of Terminators, then technically the Terminators would have all the keywords, so they would get Dark Pacts on 5+s and everything, which was silly.
Yeah. I can see why they've done that. Yeah, he's just got Kirsten divided now, hasn't he, instead of all the more.
Yeah, which does make sense, to be fair. Some people are going, no, but he's been blessed by all 4 Chaos Gods. He's undivided then.
Mm.
Yes.
At home, then pain says it was brutal. I'm guessing when he had a marks of the gods.
Yeah, me and James had a doubles match a little while ago, last year I think it was now, wasn't it, James? And that's when the Chaos Index was in play. And yeah, that rule came up quite a bit. Abaddon leading a load of Terminators, just wrecking.
So I've got a big question as well. Is Harken World Claimer still rubbish, or is he any good now?
Harken World Claimer is okay. I can't remember how many points he is. I don't think he's horrifically priced. It might be in the back still. It might not have changed too much. Oh, it's in alphabetical order. That's handy. Harken World Claimer, 120 points. I don't think he's that much. Might be a bit less. He's okay. Yes. So while this model's leaning unit, each time the model unit ends a charge, select one unit within engagement range of the model's unit. On a d6 for each model in that unit that is in with the engagement range of that enemy. For each 4-up, the unit suffers 1 mortal wound. So he's a mortal wound harvester. And he causes battle shot. Well, he forces you to take battle shot. His spear, in ranged, it's 3 damage, which is all right at -3. So that's
Sustained
quite cool.
D3 sustained hits as well, isn't it?
Yeah. And yeah, in combat, it's got extra attacks, but it's 1 extra attack. But yeah, no, he's okay. I wouldn't say you take him all the time, but if you're taking a Raptor heavy list, then yeah, he's okay.
Yeah. More battle shot for Dread Talons shenanigans. You bought the Dread Talons box, haven't you?
I did.
Are you planning on doing a Dread Talons list? What do you think of Dread Talons? We haven't talked about Dread Talons, to be fair.
Dread Talons, I see. Me and James were speaking about them a little while ago as well. I feel that their rules could be a little bit better reading them. So taking a lot of Raptors would be okay because they cause a -1 to leadership tests and battle shot tests and things like that. But yeah, there are just some bits that they could have worded the detachment a little bit differently to make it a little bit more scarier. But at the same time, I suppose if you look at it, if you're causing battle shock all the time and nothing can pass it, then you're not going to be able to control any objectives. You're not going to be able to do any stratagems or anything like that. So I don't know. But no, they basically, if you're within 12 inches of a Dread Talons unit, you got to take a battle shot test, and that battle shot test is done at a -1. And a lot of their stratagems, in fact, nearly all of them, sort of only really work if it's being used against a unit that is battle shocked or under starting strength or half strength. So it has the potential to be really, really good.
So Super Influence has just joined the stream, everybody. Allgate's here, Sam's here, and he's straight in with a question. Talk to me about word bearers viable from this codex.
Yes.
Also, blimey on the haircut, Simon. Nice barnet chop.
No one's mentioned my haircut. Screw you all.
It's because mine's a drastic change, though. Mine was very long. Just yesterday on stream, mine was longer than today's short. So yeah.
I stand by what I said. Our word bearers, but yes, word bearers are very viable. So if you joined earlier, Sam, then you would know. That walk gate's so hot right now. I sent a picture. We were talking about this calendar thing, and come up with an idea of doing sort of like Hansel and Zoolander from the movie Zoolander. And I sent a picture to Sam saying, "Oh, that of Magatu from Zoolander saying that Wartgate's so hot right now."
uh, Matt from Elements of Power says both your haircuts are lovely. Thank you, Matt. Gentleman as always. Gareth's now giving Sam some crap about turning up late, which is true. Turns up an hour into the stream, demands that we talk to him about something that we talked about at the start of the stream, and then he'll probably just go off and get his top off and hammer some walls, hammer some drywall now, getting ready for the calendar, getting himself Diet Coke break man.
Fit and ready for
it. As Ryan calls him, he's like Diet Coke break man, isn't he? In his garage, smashing around the wall with his top off, drinking a can of Diet Coke while the women watch.
So hot right now.
I think that's the idea. I think that's your idea. I see, I'm so wet right now. That's it. You see, he's pouring the water over his head with the hose pipe. Yeah, I can see that. I can see this being your calendar. There you go, Wolf and sweat. There you go, sweating. He's moist. Yes.
Oh,
moist.
hate that word.
That's such a good word. Some people really hate that word.
Oh, it's horrible. But you're offending Gengar. Leave him be.
You would go Pat Bound Zealots for word bearers. I would have thought that's probably the most fitting, isn't
it?
Yeah. You've got a lot
of Talk to you about word bearers. We've just been through Pack Bound Zealots. We've just been through it. You'll just have to rewatch this on Simon's YouTube.
Well, we can collab it so it can be on your page as well. So you can do it on either page you like. Hydration is important in silly hot weather. It is. Stay hydrated, kids. So basically, Sam, what we were saying is Pat Bound Zealots, you can take a mark, and then your marks are affected. Things like lethal hits are like Corn. They get a lethal hit on a 5+. Zinch on range attacks on a 5+. Nurgle and Slanesh have got sustained hits on a 5+. Range for Nurgle and melee for Slanesh. Basically, undivided, they get to reroll hits and re-rolls of 1. Sorry, reroll hit rolls of 1. There you go, Sam. That's basically what we did explain over 10 minutes in a minute, just for you.
Basically, the index is Pack Bound Zealots. Basically.
Yeah. Essentially, yeah.
And take Hellbrutes. We've just discussed this.
Yeah.
Take Hellbrute.
Take Hellbrutes. Take Hellbrutes in your Take Hellbrutes in your word bearers list. What did Gareth say? 2 optional versions: 12 months of Simon or 12 months of Sam and Ash. I know what he's referring to. Yes. Yeah, Sam's gone. Sam's left the chat now. I'll rewatch it. Sorry, gone. Yeah, I know what Gareth's referring to. Oh, he's still here. No, he's still here. He's back. Yeah, Gareth's referring to someone made a request apparently to have 12 months of me, and now he's asking for 12 months. Now maybe we should 12 months of you and Sam. So
you can vote to which you prefer.
We have a Hellbrute question. At arms and painting again. Shoot your double fist. I'm partial to the Power Scourge and Twin Auto.
Shooty and combat. 1 ranged weapon and 1 fist, because all having 2 fists does is well, actually, fist or Power Scourge, it doesn't matter either way. But 2 fists just gives you twin linked, essentially, and twin linked on a Hellbrute that's probably going to be wounding on 2s quite a lot. Do you trust yourself with dice rolls? I suppose with the twin fist, though, you could potentially have a Hellbrute with 2 flamers, heavy flamers as well, which is okay. Or 2 combi bolters, so 2 rapid fire. Yeah, so 8 shots with bolters.
There you go. He doesn't trust his dice rolls, which is why he wants a twin links. He gets to reroll.
One combo that I would fully suggest anybody who plays Chaos that isn't a fully Khorne list or anything like that. take a Sorcerer Lord in Terminator armor with a retinue of Terminators. They have an ability, or psychic ability called Death Hex. So in the shooting phase, you roll a d6. On a 1, you take d3 mortal wound. But on a 2+, you pick a unit that's visible and within 12 inches. I think it's 12 inches. Could be longer. Yep, 12 inches. And you improve the AP of all the weapons that shoot at that unit by 1. Which is pretty cool. So bolters essentially are -1.
Gareth says one shooty's last fist and one double fisting. See what you did there, Gareth. That painting's currently building a Terminator Sorcerer because of Death X. Is that still the same model though that I bought like 5 years ago when it was still?
It's this one still, yes.
Yeah, is that in the Dread Talons box?
No. Funny enough, I found this one out because it was lying about, which will be going to Daz. I have no need of it. I've got about 5 or 6 Terminator Lords.
I built one in 2019, and it was an ancient model then.
It was, yeah. They're a little bit smaller than their current Terminator counterparts.
Oh, yeah, exactly, because they're way older, aren't they? Well,
if you want a better one, just convert the Terminator Librarian from Leviathan.
Or Onsen Paint says he may be using a spare Blight Lord model.
Oh, yeah. I know Sorcerer Lords are good. They just add a little bit more oomph to some units, and they're not too shabby themselves, which is pretty cool. But yeah, I suppose sort of like in terms of special shout-outs, the unit that are quite viable, Venom Crawlers. I know for a fact they're only 110 points for a 9-wound vehicle model with movement 12. Their range weapon is 36 inches, and it's equipped with 2 of them, so it's 12 shots at -1/2 damage. So yeah, they're quite good, and their weapon attack is strength 6 -1/2 damage as well. But at the end of the phase, if one or more attacks made by this model destroyed one or more enemy units, you add 1 to the attack's characteristics of the model. So every time it kills a unit, it gets an extra attack on everything.
They're still in the same sprue as Obliterators, aren't they? So that brings them to Obliterators, because you might as well build them if you've got to get them.
Yeah.
What Obliterators? And good, bad, indifferent.
Obliterators took only a small little hit in their rules. The only thing that's changed is their flesh metal gun on their strongest attack, which is Focus Malice. Oh no, they've maybe taken 2, depending on how you see the second one. On Focus Malice, so it's changed from 24 inches to 18 inches because it's technically the Melter version of it.
Yeah, it's
got Melter 2. It's D3 attacks, D3 shots, hitting on 3, strength 12, -3, 4 damage. It's a vehicle killer. But usually you deep strike them anyway, so it's not a big deal. The rest of their weapon profiles, the sort of more crowd control, strength 5, -1, 1 damage, D6 +3 shots, and the flesh metal guns, which has blast, which is more of a marine killer, I suppose. D6 with blast, hitting on 3, strength 8, -2, 2 damage. The only thing is the Focus Malice has gone down to 18. Also, you can only ever take them in units of 2. So you can't take them in units of 4 anymore. Once again, depending on how you look at it, it's not a big deal, really.
Sort of good from a money point of view because they're on the same sprue as the Venom Crawler, aren't they? So you'd have to get if you didn't want, you'd have to get you wanted 2 units of 4. You'd have to also get like 4 Venom Crawlers.
Yeah.
So,
but at the same time, that's 4 models and that's a heavy investment in points. They are very, very, very good, very high in price in points. So if you're taking 2, it's still reliable. If you're taking 4, you hope they make up their points. But yeah, their rule is more or less the same. So if they do a Dark Pact, if it can use the ability, if it does, at the end of the phase, range weapons, until the end of the phase, range weapons equipped by this model have indirect fire ability. So if you're trying to hide them and you don't want to poke them out because something big's going to shoot at them, if they do, just do that. But indirect fire, no, I don't rate indirect fire, to be honest.
Yeah,
Not my
box size dictates unit size is bad in 10th. I think it's terrible. I think it's like 2019. We got new obliterators, and we got venom crawlers, and they still are just monopose, easy build kits that were in the box, put onto the same sprue, and sold in like I can't remember what they call them when they sell them separate. I just think, well, why haven't we got multi-part kits for them? Why are they still on the same sprue? There's a million and one questions about stuff like that. It's very frustrating. It's the same as Great Possessed. And yeah, the Great Possessed, now then we're going to drop Great Possessed altogether, and your Great Possessed models are now either in your Possessed or you just throw them away. It's really annoying.
I suppose the Greater Possessing didn't really affect me too much because I did have 5 just floating about. I was able, because I got 2 of those. What was it called? Shadow? Is it Shadow Spear? Is it Shadow?
Yeah, Shadow Spear. Yeah, it was Shadow Spear.
So I got 2 of those, so I got 4, and then I had 1 just given to me because it doesn't have a base or anything, or at the time it didn't. But no, that just became another 5 units of Possessed for me. So I've got a unit of Greater Possessed, which are now just normal Possessed, and the new box of Possessed. So it's worked out for me, if that makes any difference whatsoever.
Gareth's got 2 venom crawls and 4 big lads on sprues. That's the only thing, though. If you want one or the what if you don't want venom crawls or you don't want obliterators? That's what's annoying. It's like, well, what if I don't want those in my army? If I want venom crawls, I've got to buy obliterators. It's just very, very annoying. And plus, because of monopose, if you say you did go full, I want 3 venom crawlers, 3 venom crawlers, 3 venom crawlers, and I want 3 units of 2 obliterators. Fine, you can buy 3 lots of that, but then you've got you've got for your obliterators, you've basically got 3 poses, 2 poses, so you've got 3 models on each side that look exactly the same.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, that's the only downside, but yeah, I want to sell 2 obliterators. Another shout out unit, and they were good in the index. They're still great. They're quite cheap in points. I think 175 points for 1. I have a list which includes 3 of them, and that's Chaos Vindicators.
Okay, yeah.
Bloody great. Firstly, they're toughness 11, with 11 wounds, which is standard for general vehicles for Marines. But their movement 9, which is fine. Their 24-inch range weapon, fine. Demolisher cannon is blast D6 plus 3, hitting on 3, strength 14 minus 3 D6 damage, which is mental. But what sort of makes them great is that the siege shield. So if they get charged, they can still shoot their demolisher cannon with blast in combat with no negative modifiers.
Yeah, that's pretty good. What are they like points wise? I guess
175.
It's not too bad.
No, they're sound. And
I'm guessing that this point that are they different on the app then because the 205 and Codex?
yeah, they're not that much. They're in 175 now.
I
I always said
Codex
when you
just over the week old and it's already out of date.
If your Codex is if your Codex comes soon, so if you're a Sisters player or a Gene Stealer Cult player and your Codex is coming out, ignore the points in the back. They will be redundant the day you get it. Yeah, no, a lot of these points on here are very wrong.
Yeah, I think I've had this. Someone's had this, not argument, we had a discussion on DM. Someone's like, because I said about the Custodes Codex, and they were saying, well, it's already out of date before you get it, and blah, 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 blah. And he said, do you know Warhammer exists? And I was like, yeah, I know all that, but at the same time, not Warhammer, whatever the Russian site is. And I said, yeah, but I can't put that on a shelf. That's the only reason I get books.
Yeah.
I can put them on a shelf.
I like having the books, to be honest, regardless of how out of date it will get by the end of it all. But I enjoy reading it. I've read all the fluff at the beginning. It's the fluff of the chaos is more or less rehashing everything that happened in Arcs of Omen, basically. But yeah, no, yeah. All in all, the Codex itself, I'm not in a biased way, but it's enjoyable. It's a cool Codex. And how many times have you bought a Codex in older editions, played your army's rules, you've either liked it or hated it, and you're just like, well, I'm stuck with these rules because this is the army I play. Whereas in these newer Codexes, it doesn't matter. You've got so many detachments that you're not fixed on one.
Yeah, let's not talk about how many detachments Custodian's got, shall we? Let's move right along from that one.
Oh,
some armies got lots of detachments, and some got 4, and one was just solely for one part. One was solely for sisters, and the other 3 were rubbish. So yeah, some codexes did get lots of detachments. Some codexes got completely shafted. I'm not bitter about it at all, though.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. Custodians have been too good for far too long. That's
Yeah, I don't mind a nerf. I don't mind a nerf. I don't mind them being more balanced. I'm fine with that. But what I find with GW is you get the case of, we've made these 2 good. We need to balance them. How do we balance them? Get that sledgehammer over there and smash the utter shit out of them so they're so bad that they go from like 60% win rate to 30, and then slowly do data slates where we make them better again.
yeah.
That's what annoys me. I don't mind a nerf if something's doing really well, but they don't just nerf them; they smash them to pieces and make them utterly terrible. Custodians are very for attachments; they win no matter the outcome. That's how I'm going to have to play every game because we're custodians. Every battle we fight is recorded as a win, so it doesn't really matter. I've won anyway.
Me and James are in an agreement with something though, that orcs are broken at the moment. They're the broken army at the moment, so we should all gang up on orcs and complain about how broken they are.
That's it, isn't it? You always get, every edition, you get those couple of armies or the codexes or indexes or whatever come out, and they're fantastic, and everybody hates them. Then, but that's the problem with when the codex is really really good. I found that in 9th, like custodians were definitely broken in 9th, and if you went to play a game and you got custodians out, I can guarantee at least 3 or 4 people would go, "Oh look, OP meta chasing," and it's like, no, I've played them since 2019. I'm not meta chasing, but just because they're good now, you are, and it's just you don't want to play them anymore. You don't want to bring them out. And that's a problem. So I do prefer codexes which are fun to play and not brilliant, but not terrible either. So I think you get more.
I don't mind custodians. I've never minded custodians, to be fair. The thing is, well, in older editions when they were very survivable and very strong, they are quite possibly they're the strongest transhumans in the world, or in the universe. So of course they're going to be good. They're pitted to protect the Emperor. So yeah, they have to be strong. And I do feel for them because I've played Custodes once with their new codex, and even though I'd lost, it wasn't by a lot of points, and it was interesting. Not how it wasn't easy, but how different it was to try and take out units in a Custodians list now. I think with this newer codex, with some of like the synergies and rules, I might be able to pull out a win. I don't win often, so who knows? But yeah, I don't know. Who knows? Maybe you get points drops in the next.
I think points drops are the way to go. Gareth just said, "Come play Custodians in HH." That means we're buying another book, though.
There's more books.
There's more books. I've got to have to have a new bookcase just for all the books. But I mean, I think Custodians is a hard one. Just based on the fact that in the fluff, they're like the best of the best. They make Space Marines look like normal human beings. How do you translate onto the tabletop? I mean, you can in the lore you can literally send 1 or 2 Custodians as your army to sort stuff out. So I think that's in one of the Chris Rake books where I think it's the second one where Valerian turns up and the guard regiments there said, "We were told reinforcements. Where's my reinforcements? Where's the reinforcements?" And he said, "I am your reinforcements." And then just basically levels everything by himself. So yeah, how do you translate that into the tabletop? That's a problem.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there. I'm with you. Yeah, no, there's not really much you can do. It's a tabletop game. It's all about dice rolls with strategy. It's how it is.
Yeah, Gareth said I'll need one book because I've got the Age of Darkness box. I've got the main rule book. I just mean but I'd have to then get the book which has got the Custodians in it as well. Points drops are silly for an elite army. I agree, but once you've got everything set out in the book, do you want to go down the route of changing all the rules in the book because that makes the book useless, and that's going to annoy people even more.
And that's the trap they fell in 9th edition. It really is. Changing rules left, right, and centre to try and make other rules. Yeah, it makes everything so redundant when you're writing it down. They need to not do that this edition. Just stick by your guns, change points of things, and make things. And they did that with, I call them Meta Marines, with the Nerf gun Marines. They made them way more expensive to bring because they were so good. Desolation Marines, that's what they're called.
Yeah, Desolation Marines were ridiculous. I think the main problem with the last 2 editions of 40k to me is they've geared it so much towards competitive play.
Yeah.
It's that, so everything's geared towards how good the win rates and how well they play in tournaments, and that contradicts their player base, which is I'd say about 98% of the people that play 40k will never enter a tournament. Have no interest in playing competitively. They just want to have fun and play, and it sort of messes with them more than it messes with anybody else because you're catering for a small percentage of your market. You're not really catering for the majority. I know you've got Crusade rules, but that's a little bit different. It sort of makes you miss the days. It's the good and bad of where you had one codex. There was no online updates, and that was the codex you played with for the entirety of the edition, and then you made it work. Rather than this up and down stuff, it is pain because every time a date slate comes out, you're like, what's changed? What do I need to remember? What needs updating?
Yeah. Luckily, if you're just changing points, then if you've got the app, it's no issue because you don't have to be crossing things out or just double checking things. But yeah, the app will always be updated. Well, I say it's always been updated. Some of the rules in the Chaos app are not updated properly. But anyway, but when you start changing rules, like actual wordings of rules, that's when it starts becoming stupid.
Stupid. Yeah. Gareth says most obvious things the Codex was written for Crusades before the change to Devastating. Yes, it was. I'm waiting for that data slate update as well to change that. And then Arms Length Pain competitive. Yeah, it is. It's a bread and butter because it's allowed us on socials. However, YouTube wise, Liam Dempsey moved away from competitive play ages ago because it wasn't fun for him it wasn't fun for them to play, and it meant that sometimes their streams were going for like it was over in 2 turns. And the Tabletop Tactics podcast on Sunday, the live one, they too are moving away from competitive for the same reasons. It doesn't make good YouTube TV. So we might see a change in that going forward. If all the guys on their influencer programs and stuff divert away from competitive, maybe they will as well, and get the message that it's not what people want to see. Because if you're watching a back rep and it's over in 2 turns, it's not entertaining, is it? And it's not going to make them any money.
I don't know if this has been everybody else's view on 10th. 10th seems to have like a very mixed reaction, but I don't think I've had a game where I've been ended in 3 turns. I've at least had 4 to 5, and they've always been quite close. It was different in 9th edition, where everything was too killy, ignoring invols and all sorts of ridiculousness. So I don't know. I personally don't see it. Like today, it went the distance, and from a 20-point deficit, I was able to at least bring it back up to a respectable score.
Yeah, I think it does depend on factions. Gareth just pointed out Dystopian Wars. You can download your rules and your faction codex for free from the War Cradle website. Yeah, you're right. GW will never do that. It does depend. It does depend on your factions and stuff. There we go. Same happened on Vanguard Tactics on Wednesday. Jay got absolutely hammered in 3. That and every game that Arms Length Painting is played, Eldar has ended in 1 or 2. That's what Lawrence covered. He really likes Eldar. He really likes to play Eldar. He won't play them on the channel because he said even if he picks a really, really bad list, it's still really, really good. He won't play them on the channel just because people won't find it entertaining. It's not an entertaining watch, and it's not an entertaining game. First rank 5s, and they're very close games up to turn 4 or 5 when there's a massive point swing, then it becomes obvious. Yeah, I think it just depends on factions. Some factions are so good that even if you downplay your list and pick the less competitive units, you've still got a good chance of tabling your opponent, and I think that's part of the problem. I found when demons are pretty good. And I did a starter game with someone. They were playing knights, chaos knights, and I was playing demons. And I tabled him in 3 turns without trying. And then he was just like, "I don't want to play this game. I don't like it. I'm going to throw my models in the bin. It's crap. I had no fun." And then you feel really bad. And that's the issue. I think it's to get a really entertaining game with certain factions, you've got to pick really bad. You've got to really pick the worst list you can think of. Just to there you go. I had to take the worst list, so I could not win, and that's the issue. You shouldn't have a faction where you've got to take the worst list you can think of just to make it a decent game. And I think that hopefully the Codex will rectify that for a lot of factions, apart from Custodians and Admech, where even their best list is bad. But that's what you want. I think you want a Codex like the Chaos Codex, where it's just fun to play. I think the Knights Codex in 9th was like that for me as well. It wasn't a fantasy.
Yeah, the Chaos Knights Codex was great in
Yeah.
9th edition. It was actually great fun.
Yeah, exactly. Neither the Imperial Knights or the Chaos Knights Codex were going to set the world on fire, but they were fun and fluffy to play.
They were.
And so, and you were guaranteed a close game, no matter who you were playing, because they were.
I have a very unpopular opinion about Imperial Knights and Chaos Knights, so it's, I enjoyed playing them as a faction, but I personally think that Imperial Knights should be included in the Admech Codex and Chaos Knights should be added into the Chaos Space Marine Codex and not be their own separate factions. That's what I personally think. But fight me
Yeah,
if you disagree.
is right. Knights are a massive swing army, no doubt about that. But even if you hadn't got a lot of heavy weapons, because in the 9th edition Codex, you still got a good chance of like taking them on, beating them with objectives. I found the Imperial Knight. I don't want to speak for the Chaos Knights Codex, but I found the Imperial Knight Codex in 9th a lot of fun, and it was quite balanced. I probably lost as many games as I won.
As I say, Ben, look, I told you it was an unpopular opinion. Fight me. What's that meme? Change my mind.
No, it should not be in the game, full stop. I quit when they came in 6th. It wasn't the game I liked anymore. That's a bit harsh. I like Knights.
Okay, no, I agree with Gareth there. If Dark Mechanicum got their own codex, Chaos Knights should be included in their codex. Because if you think about it, you can still do a list of Chaos Knights if you want to do just pure Knights, but then you can add in your AdMech easier if you wanted to. And in terms of allies, you can still have you can bring a unit of blah 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 from this codex. If you want to bring a knight from that codex, you can have one at so and so amount points, blah blah blah. It will still work the same. But yeah, see, it's lucky that I don't write the rules for this game, isn't it?
Right, before we wrap up, what unit do you think? We've done your standout units. Is there any units you think got done dirty in this codex, or any units that you would never ever take in a list?
Wouldn't take in a list. That's a difficult one because everything. Oh yeah, no, there is one. There is one, possibly two. So there are 3 that have been done dirty, and I probably won't be taking very often. Is it 3? I think it is. Yeah. So the first one is the Lord Discordant. It's not got better in the Codex. It doesn't have the vehicle keyword. It won't work really in the Vashtor or really the Iron Hands lists very well. It's only toughness 9. It's got 10 wounds. It's a character that can be targeted quite easily. Its special rules are mainly against vehicles, but you've got to be within 12 inches of it for them to work. It's just not good. It's just not very good. So he got done dirty. The next one is the Spawn. Spawn got done very dirty. So they used to have the same rule as Beast of Nurgle, so they regained their wounds if you didn't kill them outright. At least they had that, but now they've lost that. Their OC0, they can't do much. They won't be able to do actions soon. Basically, their new rule, they're basically objective harassers. So if it's within 3 inches of a unit, excluding vehicles, you subtract 1 from the objective control of the models in the enemy unit. That is it. At the same time, they're just you won't see them very often. Maybe if and you've got to take them in units of 2. You can't just take one random one anymore. And the last one is, as James says, in the chat, is Cultists. Yeah, Cultists are taking a hit in the sense that they can only take close combat weapons and pistols. That is it. That is the only. Yeah, that is the only thing that's happened to them, but it's an annoying thing that's happened to them. So if you've got the old Dark Vengeance cultists with a load of auto guns and stubbers and spent ages, collecting them over the years and using them. Yeah, unfortunately, they don't have auto guns anymore.
Yeah, it's silly, isn't it, really?
It is annoying. And also, you could buy the cultists from the Blackstone Fortress separately, and some of them had auto guns and things as well. So, and a grenade launcher. It's deeply annoying. Special mention, yes. Gareth has said is the Master of Possessions, but at the same time, it's still fairly viable. The only thing that's changed on them is that they've lost the rule where they give the unit they're leading the 6-up feel no pain. But they do still give you +1 advance and +1 on your charge, which is still pretty good. And they do stuff with the sacrificial dagger that makes their psychic a bit better. That's it. In points, still a little bit pricier than you'd want it to be. But it's taken a little bit of a dip because it's lost that 6-up feel no pain. But if you're going to use them in pack-bound zealots, if you're going to use that, then use a Master of Possession. Put him as Marcus Slanesh and give him the intoxicating elixir because he gets a 5-up feel no pain himself. Yeah, I suppose that's the closest you'll get, really. But yeah, no, those are the ones that did do it. But Lord Discordant by far is the one that I'm not upset about, but at the same time I'm like, oh, he could have been a lot better, a lot better, but he just isn't.
He's just a bit crap.
He's just a bit. Yeah, he is. He's quite possibly the worst unit in the Codex.
So
in terms of what he does to points ratio, he's the worst one.
So just to finish then, what do you see? Let's just talk tournaments only for a second. What do you see being the most used list in tournaments? What's most competitive, do you think?
The one that I think will be used the most is Renegade Raiders in competitive play, whereas their special rule, their detachment rule, and the way they play is very objective based. So getting that extra AP on a unit that's close to controlling an objective will really devastate them. So bolters are even basic bolters and bikers are getting -1 on their bolters. Havocs are getting more AP on their weapons. Everything can advance and shoot with no issue. And their stratagems really do help with the way that they move. Whereas in competitive play, if you're controlling the objectives or being able to do things quickly and still being, because if in normal play, if you're advancing all the time and don't have a soul, then you're not really killing anything. But now with that detachment, you can move up quickly and you don't have to worry about not being able to shoot because you can.
Yeah.
That is the detachment I think that will be used the most. You might see the Felhammer Siege Host quite a bit, just because of the -1 to wound thing. And maybe veterans, maybe. But no, I think if you maybe look in a few months' time at tournament play, and if there's chaos lists that are in the upper bracket of the rankings, I will put my right hand on the line to say that I think that those lists will be Renegade Raiders.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. Well, that is the one I think most people are talking about because it is really good.
It is. It's annoyingly good. It's annoyingly to the point where I'm waiting for bikes, and I didn't want bikes, but I want bikes now.
I want those 20-year-old models. I need them.
I need them
I
to
need
make them. Yeah. Yeah, it just a lot. Even their enhancements just sort of help things. So, like, you can give an enhancement to a unit. The model in the bearer, models in the bearer's unit have the scout 6 inches. So before the game even starts, you're moving something 6 inches, and more than likely, you're bringing lots of transports and bikes and jump packs.
Dante, I think they're taking that away in Nexus. Oh, yeah, Dante's just said if you have a sword and everything can do actions if you advance, as they're all able to shoot.
Yeah, so they mentioned that in Meta Watch today. If you haven't watched it, it's probably best to go. And the new mission pack, they've clarified what can or cannot do actions. One of those is if you have an assault weapon, even if you have advanced and want to do an action, you can't shoot if you're doing an action. It's just that you just basically can't shoot. Same with pistols in combat, because you can do actions while you're in combat. You can't shoot your pistols if you're in engagement range and do an action. It's a complete no, you can't do it. So they have got rid of all that, which is sneaky. The people doing that were sneaky. That was never the intention, I'm sure.
Rules as opposed to rules as read, that is.
Yeah. And anything that's OC0 cannot do actions anymore. So no more lists taking Nurglings or Space Wolf players taking wolves and having them go to the corner of a map to investigate signals, because that's what wolves.
Well, that makes sense, to be fair.
Oh yeah. My Chaos Spawn is going to go and cleanse that objective.
Yeah. It's going to go and investigate some signals. It's going to
raise. It's exactly what it's going to do.
It's going to go over the raise flag for us. That's what those Nurglings are going to do over there.
But no, in the new mission pack, battle line are going to be the focus of it. So battle line units are going to be key in a lot of the missions, because they'll get an extra ability on top of their normal abilities from the mission packs. So like there was one that's raising banners. So if you're controlling objective and it's battle line, you can say this unit's raising a banner. It's not an action, it's just something they can do. They've put a banner on it. It's an extra point because it's a battle line unit doing it. So that's not so bad.
I think that's a good place to wrap up. Thanks for joining me, Ash. To be honest, I haven't had much of a chance to read through the Codex, so I did need someone who has read through the Codex. I guess we will see each other in July, where I'm now worried because you seem to know all the combinations in the Codex, and I've just got an index, so I probably won't win.
I will say I have a lot to learn still. I've got plenty more games in the meantime. I haven't got a list. I will say this though. Because I want it to be pure Black Legion, the list will be Veterans of the Long War. It won't be anything else.
I was expecting the Raiders list to appear.
No, it won't be a Raiders. It's not going to be a Raiders list. It will be Veterans of the Long War. I don't know what list I'll take. Avalon will be part of it. Everything else, I do not know yet.
Well, I look forward to seeing you then. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks everyone in the chat who got involved. It's always spirited when Garrett's in the chat. But yeah, it was a good stream. And we'll see you all again in the next one. And see you all later. Bye-bye.
Be good, everyone.